Hello Internet! Today we are going to be working with shader graph and our ripple shader. So ARM32 mentioned in the comments on the last video that it would be cool to see this in shader graph. And they're not the first one to suggest that. So I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of try to do both of them in parallel. So we're going to catch up on shader graph and then we'll kind of alternate back and forth hopefully and get this effect done. And then we can kind of hopefully use one to learn the other in either direction. And hopefully that's helpful. I would appreciate some feedback just so we kind of know if that's working or not, or if I can improve that. I don't know shader graph. It's not something that I'm familiar with. This is going to be me learning it. So if you don't want that, sorry, I would go somewhere else because I'm not going to be able to give an expert's opinion on this. I have not used the tool. So we're going to see if we can take a shader we already have working that kind of does this and sends out these shader pulses. We're going to make this. The first goal is to be able to create a ring. That's all I want. I don't want this moving thing. I don't want it to do fades or anything. I want it one color on the inside and one color on the outside. This is actually the first video we did on the channel, actually, way back like 2 years ago, was this was a similar style effect. So that's what we're going to try to build. In order to do that, we can't actually just import shader graph into this project. I tried that. It doesn't work. It throws a whole bunch of errors, and then you try to import the lightweight render project pipeline. That doesn't work either. So you just can't do it. What you actually need to do is go to File, New Project. It does this thing. And what? Hold on. You need to select Unity 2018 point something, and then select one of these new templates. These won't appear in 2017 and below, but you want like the lightweight render pipeline, or I think the high definition one will work as well. I already have the project created, so we're not actually going to do any of that. That can all just go away. And we want to open this. So this is sort of the default scene. I don't think I've changed anything. I was kind of poking around because I've never actually used this template before. But it actually comes with a bunch of extra stuff. You get this weird work scene. You get a post-processing volume. So you actually get like bloom out of the box. And you get a camera that can actually like fly around and stuff. So that's cool. Like this is just like the default scene. You can actually create this and right click to look and then mouse to move around. But that's sort of what you get. And the cool thing is you don't have to do anything else to get shader graph. So we are going to create a folder. I'm going to just call it graphs because I don't have a good name yet for it. And then you just go to shader and we want a PBR, physically based rendering shader. So this will be our ripple shader graph shader. Not the best name, but it'll work for what we want. So I'm also going to create just a basic material and attach that. So this will be our ripple shader graph material. Just so they're somewhat similar. We'll assign that it flipped over and it looks the exact same. That's good. If it was purple like it was for me when I was trying to get this set up, that means something's broken, but it's not. And I haven't run into any issues with the lightweight render pipeline template. It was a totally different thing that did not go well. So here's what we end up getting. This PBR master is our output. So this is what you're actually seeing. And that probably makes sense because this little circle here, I shrink, oh, that didn't really work, did it? Should look very similar to, let's create a sphere. There's also light probes in the lightweight render pipeline, which is pretty cool. That's what these white circles are that you're seeing pop up in the scene and the connections. Those are light probes that actually optimize lighting. But if we add our ripple shader here, It's the lighting's going to be different, but you get the general idea. So if I change the albedo, for example, and make it purple, it should be purple. Why isn't it purple? Hold on. Technical issues. But it did work. What? Okay. Oh. I know what we're doing wrong. This is showing you have to save the asset. Unlike almost everything else in Unity, changes aren't saved or just by modifying them. You actually have to click save. So skip that. Now we have a purple sphere. Let's not do purple because purple is the shader is broken color. Let's do blue. So there's our blue ball. Let's change it into something else. The way this works is it's all node based. So you have all of these nodes that are options here. They can be inputs, they can be like functions, and then those are going to have outputs. And then you just connect them with lines. So we can do an input of, is there just a world? That's not it. Position. Sure. So this is going to be the world space position, and we're just going to plug that in. A ball might be a bad choice for this. Let's do a plane, just because that'll be easier to see what's going on. And I'm going to dock this. I think that makes the most sense. There. Sure, we can actually collapse most of that. And here's our scene. All right, that can go away too. So this blue plane is sort of what we're doing. And if I wanted to, I could just map the world space position onto that plane, which should show me. So that means X, Y, and Z in world space are now translated into red, green, and blue in our matrix. So let's 0 this. And there you go. So blue down here, this would be red and blue. So that would be 1, 1, blue, red, green, blue. This will be 0, 0, 1, etc. You kind of get the idea. So that kind of gives us positions in space. The problem you're going to see is it kind of ramps up just in the center and doesn't do anything else. The reason that's happening is because it is world space positions, and these colors only go up to 1. Once you exceed 1, you're done. So we are going to want, is it a mod? Sure. We can plug that in. I don't know if this works with, I have no idea if this actually works with vector 3s, but we're going to try it. It looks like it did, but it also looks like that may not have worked. Remainder. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see here. We'll delete that. Set this to 1, 1, and 1. That's more what I'm looking for. That's 10. We don't want 10. So this should create a repeating pattern. If we flip these. Screwing things up already. All right. So instead of what we had previously, now we get this checker grid pattern. And the way this is working, it's a little bit messed up still because there is a sign flip. So it'll go from +1 on this side to like -1 on the other side. That's still a problem. But in general, it's kind of working. So it will repeat in 1 unit segments. You can actually see the Unity grid here is actually matching what we're doing here. And we can change that ourselves here by like setting this to, really doesn't like me modifying these values. All right, 2. So this should increase the size of this. And you can see that's what's happening. That's totally irrelevant. We're not actually doing anything with that. I just kind of wanted to show this is how it works. What we actually want to do is we have a position here. I also want an input of a vector 3. Yeah, let's do it. A vector 3. And we're just going to plug in 0, 0, 0. We can actually make this a shader input later, but I don't want to do that yet. And so we now have two vectors, and I want to get the distance between them. So we have this. We can plug one in on top and one in on bottom, and we're going to get some output. And what we can do is multiply that by a color. So let's just take a color, and let's make it green so it's noticeably different than the other color we already have. And we don't want it to be opaque or transparent. And now we need to combine these. So I'm going to multiply them and then plug them into this. Things are getting a little bit tight, but that should be fine. So our color times our distance should result in it getting significantly brighter as it gets further away. And then we can just invert that and things will be good. Let's turn off these example assets for now. And you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So the center here is dark. And then after about 2 or so units, it gets brighter again. And just gets significantly brighter the further out you get. If we made this bigger and bigger, it would eventually go up to like white, because everything is going to just get multiplied by the distance. This isn't what we want though, because we actually want a ring on the inside that's doing this whole calculation. So we have this. The output of this distance, is there a way to do a comment? Or name it or anything? No. But we could create a subgraph. I don't know what this does, so we're going to try it and see what happens. Convert to, oh dear. Let's see here, new subgraph. This will be our world space distance. Sure. So our world space distance is this. I think this should still do the same thing. I just don't want it to change. Okay, so that validates that that's correct. And so this will be the world space distance from a point. In this case, it's hard-coded to be 0, 0, 0. So world space from there. And so the next step is we just need to do a if check. If greater. I don't know how to do a comparison. Compare? There's a comparison function. Well, that's handy. So we want to take this and plug in our world space position. You guys probably can't read that at all. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Unfortunately, I can't. This is as far in as I can get. And we're going to be off of our graph pretty soon. So I'll put that there. And we will output that to... I don't know what this is asking. Branch, predicate, and no, I don't know. Okay, so this is a greater than or less than or whatever. Let's do a less than and plug in 5 and then output that to there. And then I'm confused on what this is asking for. So I can delete. Oh, is it because I had 2 outputs or 2 input methods and it was trying to figure out how to handle those? So if I do this now, no, it's still asking. So I don't know. Branch. What did I just do? Okay. Got it. Makes more sense. So this comparison is doing a less than. I don't know why it's not showing it. It's beta, but this is a less than comparison. So if the distance is less than 5, then I want it to return true, which says we're going to output 1. So what this branch is doing is giving us the resulting value. So I can put that there, and then we get blue, or we get green if it's less than 5. If the world space is less than 5, otherwise we will get to 0, which will multiply by this color, which should give us black. So if we do this right, we should see a circle go out to like right around here where my mouse is and do like a loop near the bottom here. And everything else should be black. Like that. So that's perfect. It's doing what we want. If we want to make it even brighter, we can do that by just increasing this number. That's probably not the right way to do it though, so we're not going to do that. Instead, just like we did with our ripple shader, we actually passed it into the emission as well, which is going to emit and help boost the color. It also ignores lighting. So this is like a light actually emits color. This is how you would simulate that. And so that's what we're doing here. I'm kind of curious though. I don't think we need this multiply. And I think what we can do is just have this branch up to here and then just plug 2 colors in. So we can have green and create another color and plug that in down here. And we'll make this say red. And so the way this is going to work is exactly the same. It's going to output green if it's inside the circle, so the green will stay the same, but it will be red instead of black on the outside. And so if I save this, we should now get green and then red, and I have a post-process fog? Is that what's going on? Something's causing it to be foggy because it's fading to gray, and I don't think I had that set. That's not something that I tried to do. So that we'll just ignore that. Fog, there we go. We can turn that off, and then it goes red all the way out. But anyway, I guess it does show that it handles post effects and stuff. That's all depth map, so it's doing all of that correctly. But there you go. There's a really basic like ring. The next step, I imagine, is going to be making it so we can change this position. So we can actually move this circle around, because right now it isn't exposed anywhere. If I go in and look at this, we're in the lighting tab, that's not going to be helpful, but this shader has no parameters. That's a problem. Because those are what we use to actually change the behavior of it without creating an entirely new shader. And you don't want to just create new shaders for all of this. So I imagine there's something we can do with this subgraph to make it a property or something. There was an option for that. Again, I don't actually know what I'm doing. This is just mostly guessing and then kind of plugging things together and figuring it out. That's how we got to the branch, because it made more sense than an and. But I don't know. The cool thing with this is you can't really break it. The worst thing that happens, like you disconnect things, I guess, and then you save it and it doesn't work, or your math is wrong. But you can't really go wrong. It's not really, and even if you screw it up, oh well. Like you're not gonna break your computer by messing with this. I don't think. So yeah, go for it. Play with it. You do need Unity 2018, and you do need to be using the lightweight render pipeline. So importing this into existing projects is a hassle. I tried to get it to work yesterday, and it definitely did not work for me. If you figure that out, let me know, because I would love to know. But this is where I'm at right now. We'll probably pick up with this over the next few days and get back up to where we were with the ripple shader, so that we can have this whole thing happening in shader graph. But there's a bunch of steps we need to do to get to this point. But hopefully, my goal is that we will have a shader that was written in both Unity surface shader language and shader graph, and be able to use the same scripts to interact with both of them. That's the end goal. I haven't used shader graph, so I don't know if that's where we're going to end up, but that's what I'm shooting for, and this is sort of me learning as we go. So if you guys have other ideas on things we should do, let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, then let me know in the comments what you didn't like and how I can improve, and give it a thumbs down so I know that I can do better. But yeah, that's it for this video. So until next time, see you, Internet.